Okay. Good morning. Can you hear me? Thank you. Just checking if you can hear me. So we'd like to welcome you to the UNFCCC event on the reports being prepared by the IPCC Task Force on Inventories and related to short-lived climate forcers and CO2 removals. This is an event organized by the Transparency Divisions of the UNFCCC under the banner of Together for Transparency. And we had the pleasure to invite the IPCC and the TFI to join this event, as these two topics, which are being worked by the IPCC, are gaining much prominence and transparency in reporting in coming years to come. So for this event, we have an excellent panel group of speakers. First of all, we have Shuong Wang. She's the manager of MRV ETF subdivision of the UNFCCC Secretariat and representing Secretariat and Transparency Division, which Donald Cooper, the director, was not able to attend today due to the other commitments. Then after that, we have Mr. Abdallah Mokzik, the IPCC Secretariat. We also make some opening remarks. And then we have the team of speakers. They will introduce the substantive matters, and we have Mazhar Hahayat, the co-chair of the TFI, the Task Force of Inventories, which is situated in Japan, and then Sandro Federici, the head of science of the TSU, the Technical Support Unit, and Pavel Shamanou, also on the other side to the TSU. So with that, we'll be covering an introduction to the TFI and then presentations of information on the two reports that the TFI is working towards publications in 2027. And at the end will be some space for questions and answers. But if you have a burning question after the end of each presentation, feel free and raise your flag, and we can have one or two presentations. So this event is scheduled to take 1 hour, and without much ado, I will give the floor to Mrs. Shuong Wang to present. Thank you.
So thank you for the introduction, Vitor, and good morning, colleagues. So on behalf of the Director of the Transparency Division at the UNFCCC Secretariat, I would like to, first of all, warmly welcome everyone for joining this very important event. So I would like to begin by expressing our sincere gratitude to the IPCC and the TFI, which is the Task Force for National GHG Inventories, for sharing their latest development of their work and also sharing with us their insights. So the collaboration and partnership between the UNFCCC and the IPCC has been long-standing and successful. The GHG inventory guidelines developed by IPCC TFI underpin the transparency process under the UNFCCC and the Paris Agreement. The methodological guidance provided by the IPCC has ensured the rigor and robustness of the reporting and review processes of national GHG inventories under the UNFCCC process. A recent example of the effective collaboration between the UNFCCC Secretariat and the IPCC is the successful development and launch of the reporting software for the common reporting tables of national GHG inventories. As you may know, this software will be used by parties in preparing their very first biannual transparency reports under the Paris Agreement. And these reports are due by the end of this year, as we're speaking now. So to facilitate the use of the software, the UNFCCC and the IPCC have worked very closely over the past few years to ensure the interoperability of the IPCC software and the new reporting software developed by the UNFCCC. We have also partnered in holding various training and capacity building events for the use of these softwares by developing country parties in preparing their biannual transparency reports. The synergy between the IPCC's working groups and the UNFCCC has also been fundamental, particularly for the global stocktake process, as you may know very well. This interdependency exemplifies the shared commitment to advancing transparency and fostering informed climate action. We are aware that the IPCC is now entering into a new cycle, the 7th assessment cycle. New assessment reports will be prepared during this cycle, and then this will be input to our work in coming years. And today, the focus are these new reports. We are also closely following the methodological work of the IPCC. Is conducting under the 7th assessment cycle, especially the 2027 methodology reports on the short-lived climate forcers and the carbon dioxide removal technologies, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. This scientific work will better inform the reporting and review guidelines and our future work under the UNFCCC process. We at the Transparency Division are committed to continuing our close collaboration with the IPCC as we value the mutual exchange of expertise that has strengthened both organizations over the years. Events like today's offer an opportunity to enhance this partnership, ensuring that transparency experts and stakeholders benefit from the latest scientific advancements and practical methodologies. So thank you once again to the IPCC and TFI, to all our participants, and to everyone who has worked to make this event possible. I look forward to the insightful discussions and the valuable exchanges today. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Shihong. Next, I will invite Mr. Abdallah Moxit. Abdallah, please, if you can take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear moderator, and thank you to all the panelists, Mr. Wang. And let me start by something. You know, this is the pavilion of UNFCCC, and just behind you have the pavilion of IPCC. We are neighbor, and we are not only neighbor in the place. We are like a tandem. We are working on the tandem, and believe me, from my history about IPCC, I didn't find more efficient, more sustained collaboration bringing IPCC and UNFCCC, and what will be presented by TFI today is a demonstration how colleagues in the technical support unit, co-chair of TFI, and all TFI community are working together with UNFCCC with efficiency, with something which is technical, which is software, and also all the work from TFI is based in the objective to serve as much as possible what is expected by UNFCCC to implement transparency. So this is just to share with you that I am really proud as secretary to have such collaboration, which is like a bridge, like a tandem. So, Oscar, I will now start the statement. So I am delighted to welcome you today to this important event on the IPCC TFI activities in the 7th assessment cycle. Here I would like to stress that the IPCC always strive for innovation and constant improvement. IPCC activities and products are offered to experts and policymakers as a powerful toolbox. I think software is exactly a toolbox that is user-friendly for anyone to really participate in this transparency work. For 36 years, science robustly assessed by the IPCC has driven global negotiations and decision-making on climate change. Since its establishment, the IPCC in 1998, TFI, the Task Force of Inventory of National Greenhouse Gas Inventories, continues to develop and refine an internationally agreed methodology and for the calculation and the reporting of national greenhouse gases and removal, that all parties under the UNFCCC are required to apply. The IPCC is currently in its 7th cycle. We just kick off the 7th cycle. But let me share with you something. Believe me, as secretary, I am secretary. TFI already, delivered. I can tell you that they were prepared. They were preparing their work before kickoff of 7th cycle. And they made our life a little bit difficult because they already organized many meetings. So TFI continues to develop and refine. No, the TFI is currently in its 7th cycle, and the ambition is to continue providing solutions and actionable products. In line with the IPCC chair vision, the ambition is to focus on policy relevance, inclusivity, and interdisciplinarity. And these 3 words are really key, because really, and this is exactly the demonstration what TFI is doing, and IPCC in general, is to offer to anyone, everywhere, to use something which is simple and to fulfill what is requested by UNFCCC. The TFI is very busy in this cycle, and only 18 months have already delivered 2 experiments on carbon dioxide removal technologies and reconciling modeling estimate of net emission from the land and with IPCC methodologies, as well as a workshop on the IPCC inventory software. The IPCC 995 members country have also requested the TFI to produce 2 methodology reports on short-lived climate forcer and carbon dioxide removal technologies, carbon capture utilization and storage. This report will be ready by 2027. Let me emphasize how grateful we are to the TFB and TFI and its co-chair, Bureau, technical support units for their commitment and dedication. Let me also highlight, and I agree totally with you, that from 6th cycle, the collaboration with UNFCCC is at the top through a sort of mechanism, we call it GWG, Joint Working Group, where we are meeting together continuously and to prepare any event, including the UNFCCC and this COP29. So let me, by this few words, thanks this collaboration, thanks the TFI, and congratulate them for excellent work. Really, I feel that really this is a demonstration. And also, thanks this collaboration as a tandem between your division and TFI, between IPCC and UNFCCC, and the bridge is there, the tandem is there, and we feel as a tandem we are serving all the countries under UNFCCC. I should thank you very much, and I should look for your commitment as participants to follow the work of TFI, and also you can understand well that TFI is developing software, top quality software that should be maintained following all the new technologies. But let me say something. Sustainability, the maintenance of all these tools needs all support, scientific support as well as financial support. From this podium, I am asking you, all of you, to continue to contribute financially to help TFI to maintain and to develop and to be in the top all the time for a tool for you And also I can thank also UNFCCC who are also not hesitating to provide any support at any moment. Once again, thank you very much. And I think, when I am taking long because I feel like a member of family. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abdullah. So the next speaker, which is Mr. Mazhar Hayat from the TFI. Mazhar, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chuang Wong and IPCC Secretary Abdullah Muqsit for having confidence in the work of TFI and its processes. Thank you very much for this. As mentioned by our colleagues that the TFI Task Force on GHG Inventories has been mandated with 2 methodology reports. One is on short-lived climate forces and the second one is on CO2 removal technologies. CO2 removal technologies, carbon capture, utilization and storage. Today I'm just going to tell you about the overall structure of the TFI. As you know that IPCC was created back in 1988 and it is hosted by World Methodological Organization and UN Environment Program. And the objective of IPCC is to provide governments at all levels with scientific information that they can use to develop climate policies. So in IPCC structure, it has 3 main working groups and the TFI about which I'm going to talk. The technical support unit of the IPCC is based in Japan and its main purpose is to develop and refine an internationally agreed methodology and software for the calculation and reporting of national GHG emissions and removals, and to encourage the widespread use of this methodology by countries participating in the IPCC and by signatories of UNFCCC and its Paris Agreement. The TFI has 2 components. One is decision making, the Task Force Bureau, and the second one is Technical Support Unit. The Task Force Bureau has 14 members, including 2 co-chairs. And this Task Force Bureau was elected back in July 2023 on the completion of AR6 cycle. Currently, we have 9 staff members, and our TSU Secretariat is based in Japan, and it is funded by the government of Japan. The Global Environmental Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, IGES, is hosting this technical support unit in Japan. With this, thank you very much. My colleagues will now explain the processes which we are working for AR7. Dr. Sandro.
Thank you. Thank you. Just one slide about the overall activities, then we go directly to the methodology reports, otherwise we risk to be out of time. So, the IPCC activities, at the moment TFI works on 2 tools. One is the IPCC emission factor database to serve the inventory compilers, but also the goal is to serve the IPCC authors when they revise the emission factor to have a readily available repository of scientific literature. And then the IPCC inventory software, you heard that is a big effort we are doing to serve the UNFCCC parties for their reporting obligation under the Paris Agreement. So with this, okay, this is the IPCC emission factor database, but we will go fast because otherwise this is the IPCC inventory software that is evolving fastly. This is, as Abdallah kindly noted, that we have a problem in funding. You see, historically, the level of expenditure was far below the 100,000 Swiss franc, but now in the last 2 years, also for the next year, we are hitting the 500,000. We don't have such. We are really in need of additional contribution. If anybody may may address us to some funding, would be nice. Then we ask Pavel to do the first presentation, which is about the first of the two reports, the one that is already a little bit more advanced in terms of process. Thank you, Pavel.
Okay, so hello to everyone and also for online participants. Let me explain about the mandate for this work. So first of all, in 2019, when we adopted refinement, there was another decision that TFI need developed a methodology report on short-lived climate forces during a 7th cycle, which is now currently IPCC 7th cycle. But the whole preparatory work should be done in the previous cycle, IR6 cycle. So what's this preparatory work? It was mandated that we need to do technical analysis of methodologies on short-lived climate forces. We need to analyze what are the sources of emissions of short-lived climate forces and what are the species. So we had two expert meetings, and these expert meetings decided to see what are the categories, what is categories in IPCC guidelines, what is covered already by the IPCC guidelines, and what is not covered by the IPCC guidelines. Because methane as a one short-lived climate force and F-gases are already included in 2006 IPCC guidelines, so they were not in the focus of this work. And expert meetings concluded that methodological guidance should be limited only to primary emissions. Methodologies can present black carbon and organic carbon as a per se in metric tons or as a part of the PM 2.5 estimates. It is not recommended to compare short-lived climate forces with long-lived greenhouse gases like CO2. And also for short-lived climate forces, it's important spatial and temporal resolution because of the impact on the climate. And of course, these meetings produced a complete set of source categories and associated species. So what we did, we analyzed EMAP EEA guidebook, also US EPA AP42 compilation of air pollutants emission factors, and methodology from UNEP, it's called the Atmospheric Brown Clouds Emission Inventory Manual. So this is the main framework on estimating short-lived climate forces. We experts checked all categories and all species that are in these documents. Also, we studied literature. And for the meetings, we produced kind of tables in the view that we need to produce a future table of content of the new methodology report. So we need to have a category list like energy, industry, AFLU, and so on. So these tables were prepared by expert participants, and they analyzed, do we have a gap in the IPCC guidelines or not? Is it a method from IPCC guidelines is relevant for short-lived climate forces or not? And what are available emission factors for particular species? After that, we have this list of categories. You can see this is a chemical industry example. So all category by category, guess by guess, was analyzed. And this is just an example for energy, just exception. So you see sources and all relevant species are in this table. We published reports from these expert meetings. You can download from our website and see if you can find interesting information there. Then we started the scoping process after the preparatory meeting. So the scoping process is the following. After IPCC session, it was moved from IR6 cycle to IR7 cycle, the scoping meeting. and we send a call for nomination for focal points. Then TSU collected nomination for the scoping meeting, and we received 141 experts from focal points, observer organization, bureau members, and so on and so on. So then we selected 97 participants, and the scoping meeting took place at the beginning of this year, in February 2024, in Brisbane, Australia, and was attended by 97 invitees, and actually 68 participants only managed to attend. So the scoping meeting should decide on the following: on the title and the format of the methodology report, terms of reference for this methodology report, what would be the content of the new methodology report, work plan, and instructions to experts and authors. So the report is produced for the scoping meeting, and then it was considered by the Task Force Bureau. And Task Force Bureau made a proposal to the plenary, IPCC 61, which was in July-August in Sofia, Bulgaria. And the title was proposed and agreed by the panel that it will be 2027 IPCC methodology report on inventories for short-lived climate forces. And a panel agreed on all the documents that was produced by the scoping meeting. So, terms of reference, just to highlight important issues. What would be the species in this methodology report? It will be NOx, carbon monoxide, NVOCs, sulfur dioxide, ammonia, BC and OC, and as well as emissions of primary particulate matter relevant for radiative forcing as appropriate. So during the panel was a long discussion which PM to include, PM2.5, sulfates, PM10, PP1.0. At the end of the day, that was a decision that we have in the text. And also hydrogen will be included in an appendix to this methodology report. So future authors needs to work on emissions of hydrogen. And consistency from the terms of reference. Authors will ensure consistency with categories and build on the methodological guidance previously in 2006 IPCC guidelines, wetland supplement, and 2019 refinement. So what is the content of this report and the outline that was agreed by the IPCC plenary, and authors needs to write the chapters and the volumes of the methodology report. So volume 1 is a general volume, it's a general guidance and reporting. So we need to speak about SLCF emissions, what are the differences between greenhouse gases and methodologies that already in IPCC guidelines, what are approaches to data collection to estimate short-lived climate forces emissions, and the issues of time series consistency, verification, and reporting tables. And the main substance is rather simple. You can see that energy sector will follow 2006 IPCC guidelines, will be stationary and mobile combustion, fugitive emissions. IPPU sector with various industries, AFALU and waste. So this is following 2000 structure of IPCC guidelines. So the work plan, I don't want to spend much time on this table. I will show you the flow of the preparation of methodology report. So after the agreeing on the outline, we need to send a call for nomination for the experts. Then we will have expert meetings, and then probably in 2027 we will produce a methodology report. So after the Bulgaria session in Sofia, we issued a call for nomination for future authors. And countries nominated 338 experts. And so far, the current budget proposal to support 53 countries from developing countries and economies in transition. So we're expecting around 100 experts to be as authors of methodology reports. Another half would be from developed countries. But we're also seeking the increase of the budget because methodology report is quite substantive with various industries. So we might need more experts on that, and hope some of you can participate and to be an author or contributing author of this methodology report, and people who are listening us online yeah, if you're interested, you can contact us, but still you need to be nominated by IPCC focal point or bureau member. So, and this is a sort of, I guess, a last slide. I will explain how the process of production of methodology report is carried out by IPCC. So after the call of nominations, we need to have the first lead author meeting. The first lead author meeting is expected to be in March 2025. They need to produce a zero-order draft. And after production of zero-order draft is just like sort of annotated agenda, more something, more specifics about particular issues. They need to develop first-order draft, and this first-order draft needs to go to government and expert review, only to expert review, actually, first-order draft. And then we receive comments from all experts. So we send in this draft to all experts, receiving comments, and authors working on the next iteration. And then at the third lead author meeting, second order draft is produced, and this was sent to government and experts. So government and experts commenting on this draft. And the final draft produced before plenary, and this final draft will be sent to the governments before adoption session. So at the end of this process, I guess in 2027, we will hopefully approve this report, and yeah, it will be distributed to everybody. So thank you very much.
Any question?
If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you everyone, and thank you Dr. Pavel. We met the other day also. I just have two quick questions. One to Madam, whether this will be made, kind of mandatory, the SLCP or SLCF reports for the developing and developed nations to be reported in the NatComs along with the GHG inventory. And second, I think I did ask you, but I seem to have missed the methane, which is also a short-lived climate pollutant. For that, the IPCC 2006 and 2019 guidelines are to be followed, right? Because it is not included in this. Right.
Maybe you can respond.
Yeah. So 2019 refinement and 2006 guidelines, they were following only and focused only greenhouse gas species, CO2, methane, nitrous oxide, and F gases. SLCF report will cover NOx, SOx, and VOC and so on, but will follow the categorization of 2006 guidelines and 2019 refinement, of course.
Thank you, Pavel. And Shuho?
Thank you for the good question. Actually, the outcome from the new reports and then the implications for the methodologies to be used by parties in their reporting, this will need to go through this UNFCCC process. It's really parties' decision, and then under this process, if parties feel the need, then they will discuss under the process and then agree on the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. My name is Manuel Dennis. I come from Liberia. I'm interested in the branches you named. That is the TFR. I have two branches, TSU and the TSU. Will you please probably explain that better? And another question has to do with the nomination. You keep talking about nomination. Who does nomination? Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so Task Force on National Greenhouse Gas Inventories, TFI, has a bureau. We're sort of governed by the bureau, Task Force Bureau. And it consists of 14 members of the bureau. That was they were elected during the IPCC session. They represent each region. Here we have Majar Hayat. He is one of the co-chair of the Task Force Bureau. And the second part is a technical support unit. So technical support unit provide organizational, technical, scientific help to the Bureau and Task Force on National Greenhouse Gas Inventories to handle this whole process that we need to do. So this one. and nominations. So usually how the IPCC processes are structured. IPCC Secretariat send in a call for nomination to IPCC focal points. IPCC focal points of the countries, 195 members, and also there is observer organizations to IPCC. So in each country there is IPCC focal point who is responsible for all activities related to climate change, science on climate, and so on. Usually they are heads of the Department of Hydrometeorologists, hydromet offices, sometimes it's a Ministry of Environment, and so on.
Thank you. If there are no further questions, may you continue with Sandro or Pavel?
Yes, thank you. The second presentation is on the scoping process of the CDR, the carbon dioxide removal and carbon capture and use and storage methodology report. Let me see, voila. Okay, so this is while the first report, the SLCF, has went through a long process of expertise, expert meetings, and then collection of information. This second methodology report has been just decided in the IPCC session, you see IPCC 60 session in Istanbul at the beginning of this year. And the task force inventory has been mandated to hold an expert meeting on carbon dioxide removal technologies, carbon capture, utilization and storage, and provide a methodology report. Also this one, the deadline is the 2027. This is why the two processes will, at a certain point, they will go in synchronous. They will be moved together. While the first expert meeting, outdoor meeting of the SLCF will be held in March, likely March 2025, the first for the CDR will likely be some months after, I cannot say yet when, but from the second lead outdoor meeting, the two methodology reports will be worked together, so there will be a side-by-side meeting. First, authors for the SLCF, and then the days after, the authors for this other one. Also because we expect that some of the authors will be authoring both reports, and this is the best way to manage their time and their expertise, which is fundamental. I mean, the methodology report, the TSU is just the secretary work. The authors write the methodology report, not us. Where I should point? Yes. So, the preparatory work. As TSU, we did preparatory work for the expert meeting. The expert meeting was held in July this year, and at the end of June, July, in Vienna, in Austria. The Austrian government kindly hosted us there. And to prepare this work, we did an analysis of what was the IPCC product on this field, on the CDR. And if you go to the working group 3 assessment report, you find there a section that is on CDR with a list of technologies that can be used for removing carbon from the atmosphere. So this is a table, you see TS7 in the technical summary. From this table, which is this one, we derived the first draft to support the work at the expert meeting. At the expert meeting, well, you see this, maybe I don't know how to go back, I guess this one. Yes. So you see, oops, I'm sorry. Yeah. You see that it's not just CDR carbon technology. The list includes forest, then include cropland, agroforestry, then biochar, which is, then you see the direct air carbon capture, the real technology in the sense of human technology. The bioenergy, the BECS are part of the discussion. This is not new, this is well known. Then you have also something new, and then you have the ocean. You have the enhanced weathering, and then you have the blue carbon management, and also there was ocean fertilization and ocean alkalinity enhancement. So at the end of the, yes. So the list, as I said, it was used as a starting point for the work. The expert already assessed that for many of these options, IPCC already provided methodological guidance that are enough, that can be applied, they're up to date because those have been already updated with the 2019 refinement. And then you have afforestation, soil carbon sequestration, coastal wetland, agroforestry, improved forest management, biochar, and BECS. Nevertheless, okay, let's say what we are discussing here. Carbon dioxide removals means, for us, for the IPCC, TFI, a removal in this term as carbon dioxide is a removal of CO2 from the atmosphere. So you need to capture the CO2 from the atmosphere, not from a pipeline, from the stack of a power plant. This is capture, that's carbon capture. But CDR, so removing removals of carbon are from the atmosphere. And of course it's the result of a sink. You need a sink mechanism that removes the CO2 from the atmosphere. So there is this distinction between capture of CO2 from a stream of CO2 generated by an industrial process, a power plant, and the CO2 captured directly from the atmosphere, like the trees, no, the trees they capture. And then a second nuance is that some of the technologies, I don't know if it's in the next slide. Well, this is a good conceptualization. Then I will tell you about the ocean. You see, there are some constraints. This came from a report published by scientists on carbon dioxide removal. There are three principles. It should be captured from the atmosphere, you see. Now, you will see there are also ocean CDR. The ocean CDR, they don't capture directly the CO2 from the atmosphere, but then because of the equilibrium between atmosphere and the ocean, removing CO2 from the ocean makes the ocean taking more carbon from the atmosphere than it would have been without the activity. Anyhow, direct from the atmosphere, you see, is not just a carbon capture, and the second should be stored. And in the greenhouse gas inventory, the permanence, so the durability of the storage, is ensured by the fact that the greenhouse gas inventory is not a picture, a one time frame of a picture at a time, a specific time of emissions removal. It's a time series. So a greenhouse gas inventory count emissions removal a long time. So counting today a removal in a greenhouse gas inventory is to be considered permanent because any following reversal, any following emission will be counted when this will occur. Okay? And then, of course, the third principle is that should be the result of a specific human action. So it's a technology, you do something to have this removal. And this is an example. So in case of the land sector, this means that you have a dedicated activity, of course, over a managed land, which is the IPCC managed land process. These three elements qualify the process as a CDR, and the removals are durable and anthropogenic, of course. Second conceptual issue is the utilization. Carbon capture can be just stored, can be stored in wood, can be stored in geological storage. There are various ways to store the carbon, but can also be utilized. And the utilization aspect is going to grow significantly. Just think about the fuel, no? These synthetic fuels made with CO2 captured. It will be then reused for energy production. So in the past, the CO2 captured and then reused was not, the inventory compiler could exclude this process from the inventory if they were not counting the following emissions of the utilized CO2. But of course, if they were able to track the utilization of CO2 and then to count for the following emissions, the capture would have been counted. Otherwise, only the capture for geological storage was there by default. This will be for sure, now is in the next slide, if I succeeded to, yes, this is, you see how many use of a carbon can be done, and technology, the industry, every week you read the news about CO2 utilization, new material, new processes. But here the most relevant probably is the fuel there, the methanol, and the materials. Okay, we don't have materials, but anyway. Okay, beverages, but is not a long-standing. Of course, you may have for fuel. No, in case of biomass, is feed, is food, and materials, because wood. No, wood is an important stock of carbon. So the expert meeting, 76 experts participated. They were online participation. You know that after COVID had a good result. We opened our meetings to virtual participation, which is very effective. Especially, I should say, for developed countries, because now we have the problem that the scientists from developed countries may not have funding to participate to our meetings, and this is a very important aspect. Okay. They follow these 6 criteria in their work. They identified any gap in the current guidance. They had to distinguish what is anthropogenic for what is not anthropogenic. They need to also to consider if it's a significant process, because you cannot request country to, because any estimate has a cost. So the cost is justified by the significance of the sink of source. Otherwise, there is no reason to do it. What was very important was they shall assess if there was enough science to go for a tier 1. A tier 1 means that you may apply the methodologies everywhere in the world, from the most advanced country to the teenest and less advanced country. So usually these need to be based on robust science and easily available activity data. And then, of course, the feasibility otherwise of higher tiers, and in this case of higher tiers, the guidance for verification. A model is always a wonderful option. Countries are encouraged to modelize emissions removal so far as there is a verification of the outputs, because each model is good, but no models are perfect. Okay, the expert meeting result, here you see with all the methodologies that they considered. There were some more. They also considered the biomass burial, for instance. We published the meeting reports with the assessment, but let me move to the scoping process. After this, we had the scoping meeting. We forced the Secretariat in a big hurry. Everything has been done really running, because the expert meeting was July and the scoping was in September, so very short time for the nomination, travel. The organization travel is a very complicated. The signature by the hosting country of the UN agreement, so it's a big piece of work. We received a lot of nominations. We selected 92 experts. The selection, I don't repeat it because Pavel already explained the process. 82 participants were there. The scoping meeting was held in Copenhagen, Denmark, again thanks to the generous contribution of the government of Denmark. They considered the outcome of the expert meeting, and they come with the same document that Pavel presented for the other meeting. So the title, the term of reference, the table of content, the instruction to the expert authors, and then a work plan to be forwarded to the Bureau. Allora, the title is this one, 2027. I expect allora, this has not been yet approved by the IPCC. So this is just a proposal for the IPCC. In March, I guess, end of February, in the next IPCC session, 62, there will be the consideration of this coming material for the approval. So you may expect some adjustment. I guess it will be 2027 IPCC methodology report of carbon dioxide removal, technology, carbon capture, and so on. A supplement to the IPCC guidelines, this is the proposal. Again, also this one, it will be a report, but we'll need to work together with the 2006 guidelines and when I say 2006 guidelines, I include as IPCC the 2019 refinement and the wetland supplement. We don't distinguish like you see within the various places. For us, 2006 means all them together. Okay? Every time I say 2006 guidelines, I mean also the refinement and the wetland supplement. Okay, you see a new methodological work. They need to distinguish at the scoping meeting. The expert defined which area need new methodological guidance, so there were no guidance, and for which area instead update should be produced. Okay, there will be a volume 1 general guidance. The main work probably will be on the reporting guidance because you are going to have, you will see new categories, so new tables and new categories. This is. And also there is a big issue which is there, the cross-boundary issues. So what we shall not expect is that the trade of carbon stock, because the carbon capture, storage and CDR, they result in the carbon stocks. The trade of carbon stock should not be an offset mechanism. That's the expectation. Energy, there will be some update about the carbon capture, fugitive emission, of course, because all the process then of transfer, 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes. Industrial processes, there is a lot of work in industrial processes because, again, all the utilization is industrial processes. So here you may expect a big there will be cement, I don't see there should be, yes, cement carbonation, the carbonation of other material, which is a natural process at the moment that is not included in the guidance, but it occurs, so it's natural but not a human technology, so it's anthropogenic. Then for a follow there is a lot of work, let's see. The main is a biochar, so again looking at the agricultural soil as a way to mitigate climate change. There is a lot of work here. The wetland sump, there is expectation work on coastal wetlands. Waste update a little bit, not much. And then there are 2 new volumes, and then I finish. The one is will be, so at the moment CC carbon capture is already in the energy sector. The proposal is to move it out of the energy sector because industrial processes will be growing in importance, and to have a single volume there with the carbon dioxide capture, with the direct air capture, and with the carbon dioxide utilization. This will be the central, let's say, volume of this new report. And then volume 7 which is about ocean. Again, ocean is not a direct capture of CO2, it's an indirect, but there are only 2 activities here, you see? There is the direct removal and the alkaline enhancement. The authors did not agree to work on the ocean fertilization as a actual proposal, actually CDR mechanism for mitigating climate change. The timeline is this one. The process is the same, identical as SLCF. You will see that there is just a discrepancy in timing for the first lead author, but from the second lead author it will be together with the SLCF. At the end is in 2027. Sorry, I had to run because we have no time. Finish.
Thank you, Sandro. Ecco, you can.
Yeah, 1 question, 2 questions. Okay.
Thank you, Sandro. We're on time. We can have like 5 minutes. 5 minutes for questions. Otherwise, if you have questions that require more time, then you can also
You
can approach Sandro or Pavel.
You may also send emails to us.
Send
We
email.
receive email, we always answer emails. It's our task.
But still, we have 5 minutes to questions. I see your question. So please say your name and affiliation, so people also on the broadcast can see. Thank you.
I'm Shivika from Vasudha Foundation, New Delhi. So my question is that there seem to be some, commonalities with the existing IPCC guidelines that we have. So how will these be read in tandem with the existing guidelines?
There will be. We expect this answer will be provided by the authors when they will write. There will be an overview, and that the overview will map. There will be also mapping tables, but we expect a close integration between the two, because biochar will be applied on cropland. Is already there, the methodology. The matter is to improve it. Carbon capture is already there. The matter is to make it better, more guidance, more factors. So it will be very, very closely interlinked. I won't expect people applying this without having knowledge of the 2006 guidelines. And the same for the SLCF. Everything is connected. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just in addition to what my colleague Shivika asked, I'm Rini from Vasudha Foundation again. So maybe I missed, but we had peatland and blue carbon and all, but I did not see grassland. I'm sure it's there.
Grassland is for soil. Soil grassland is there, yes.
Yeah. So.
Thank you. If there is other questions, there is another one.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sandro. Really great to see you. A very clear presentation. Thank you for explaining that process and the topics covered. A very specific question that I didn't see. If it had been decided that harvested wood products, we know that there's already methodological guidance, but I couldn't tell if it was determined that those could be counted as removals. If that's already been determined or if that's work yet to be decided. We do know that those harvested wood products have established decay rates over time, so we know how to account for them. Just kind of wondering if it's considered a removal at this point.
There is the last chapter, the authors decided to have a look at the harvested wood product, but to add more, because we are going to have a more long-lasting material. Biochar, again, also in this area, there is a continuum. Every week you have a new product. I saw bricks made with coconut shells. All these material need to be, we expect to provide guidance on those. That will be in the big family of the products, together with the harvested wood product. I don't know if there will be any proposal on the methodology for harvested wood product. I don't know.
Thank you.
I should know that.
Thank you. It's just we have to move to another event. Can you just move to the next slide? I think. Yes, this is the. I would just wish with this presentation. This completes this event. I will take all the speakers, and in particular, the IPCC, Abdallah and Moshar, for their participation, and Sandro and Pavel, of course. And this is the QC code for the other events of the Together for Transparency. And with this completes the events. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.